Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourself, Banking and General Knowledge etc. Jai Hind. Historical events of 1st April. A journey through time of 1st April 2025 Tuesday. Today's that is 1st April highlight in history. 1789. New York City, the United States House of Representatives achieves its first quorum and elects Frederick Muhlenberg of Pennsylvania as its first speaker. 1833. The Convention of 1833, a political gathering of settlers in Mexican Texas to help draft a series of petitions to the Mexican government, begins in San Felipe de Austin. 1865. American Civil War. Union troops led by Philip Sheridan decisively defeat Confederate troops led by George Pickett, cutting the Army of Northern Virginia's last supply line during the siege of Pittsburgh. 1867. Singapore becomes a British Crown colony. 1873. The White Star steamer SS Atlantic sinks off Nova Scotia, killing 547 in one of the worst marine disasters of the 19th century. 1900. Prince George becomes absolute monarch of the Cretan state. 1908. The Territorial Force, renamed Territorial Army in 1920, is formed as a volunteers reserve component of the British Army. 1918. The Royal Air Force is created by the merger of the Royal Flying Corps and the Royal Naval Air Service. 1922. In newly formed Northern Ireland, 6 Catholics are murdered in the Arnon Street killings, 1 week after 6 others were killed in the McMahon killings. 1924. Adolf Hitler is sentenced to 5 years fortress confinement for his participation in the Beer Hall Putsch, but spends only 9 months in jail. 1924. The Royal Canadian Air Force is formed. 1933. The recently elected Nazis under Julius Streicher organized a one-day boycott of all Jewish-owned businesses in Germany, ushering in a series of anti-Semitic acts. 1935. India's central banking institution, the Reserve Bank of India, is formed. 1937. Aden becomes a British Crown colony. 1937. The Royal New Zealand Air Force is formed as an independent service. 1939. Spanish Civil War. Generalissimo Francisco Franco of the Spanish Sisters announces the end of the Spanish Civil War when the last of the Republican forces surrender. 1941. Fontana Alba massacre. Between 200 and 2,000 Romanian civilians are killed by Soviet border troops. 1941. A military coup in Iraq overthrows the regime of Abd al-Ullah and installs Rashid Ali al-Gailani as Prime Minister. 1944. World War II. Navigation errors lead to an accidental American bombing of the Swiss city of Schaffhausen. 1945. World War II. The 10th United States Army attacks the 32nd Japanese Army on Okinawa. 1946. The 8.6 megawatt Aleutian Islands earthquake shakes the Aleutian Islands with a maximum Mercalli intensity of 6 strong. A destructive tsunami reaches the Hawaiian Islands, resulting in dozens of deaths, mostly in Hilo, Hawaii. 1946. The Malayan Union is established. Protests from locals led to the establishment of the Federation of Malaya 2 years later. 1947. The only mutiny in the history of the Royal New Zealand Navy begins. 1948. Cold War. Communist forces respond to the introduction of the Deutsche Mark by attempting to force the Western powers to withdraw from Berlin. 1948. Faroe Islands gain autonomy from Denmark. 1949. Chinese Civil War. The Chinese Communist Party holds unsuccessful peace talks with the Nationalist Party in Beijing after 3 years of fighting. 1949. The government of Canada repeals Japanese-Canadian internment after 7 years. 1954. United States President Dwight D. Eisenhower authorizes the creation of the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, Colorado. 1955. The Ioka rebellion against the British Empire begins in Cyprus with the goal of unifying with Greece. 1960. The TIROS-1 satellite transmits the first television picture from space. 1964. The British Admiralty, War Office and Air Ministry are replaced by Unified Defence Council of the United Kingdom. 1969. The Hawker Siddeley Harrier, the first operational fighter aircraft with vertical, short takeoff and landing capabilities, enters service with the Royal Air Force. 1970. President Richard Nixon signs the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act into law. 1970. A Royal Air Maroc Sud aviation caravelle crashes near Bericid, Morocco, killing 61. 1971. Bangladesh Liberation War. The Pakistan Army massacred more than 1,000 people in Keranganj, Upazila, Bangladesh. 1973. Project Tiger, a tiger conservation project, is launched in the Jim Corbett National Park, India. 1974. The Local Government Act 1972 of England and Wales comes into effect. 1976. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak found Apple Computer Incorporated (Inc). 1979. Iran becomes an Islamic republic by 99% vote, officially overthrowing the Shah. 1984. Singer Marvin Gaye is shot to death by his father in his home in Arlington Heights, Los Angeles, California. 1986. Communist Party of Nepal, Masal cadres attack a number of police stations in Kathmandu, seeking to incite a popular rebellion. 1989. Margaret Thatcher's new local government tax, the community charge, commonly known as the poll tax, is introduced in Scotland. 1993. NASCAR racer Alan Kulwicki is killed in a plane crash near the Tri-Cities Regional Airport in Blountville, Tennessee. 1997. Comet Hale-Bopp is seen passing at perihelion. 1999. Nunavut is established as a Canadian territory carved out of the eastern part of the Northwest Territories. 2001. An EP-3E United States Navy surveillance aircraft collides with a Chinese People's Liberation Army Shenyang J-8 fighter jet. The Chinese pilot ejected but is subsequently lost. The Navy crew makes an emergency landing in Hainan, China and is detained. 2001. Former President of Federal Republic of Yugoslavia Slobodan Milosevic surrenders to police special forces to be tried on war crimes charges. 2001. Same-sex marriage becomes legal in the Netherlands. the first contemporary country to allow it. 2004, Google launches its email service Gmail. 2006, Serious Organized Crime Agency SOCA of the Government of the United Kingdom is enforced but later merged into National Crime Agency on 7th October 2013. 2011, after protests against the burning of the Quran turned violent, a mob attacks a United Nations compound in Mazar-i-Sharif, Afghanistan, resulting in the deaths of 14 people, including 7 UN workers. 2016, the 2016 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict begins along the Nagorno-Karabakh line of contact. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, share and subscribe.